Have you pressed
Okay,
it? Yeah,
we're
you
live.
have pressed the button left.
Yeah.
We are live. So, Kashi, where did you get your bandana from?
Oh, so it comes with every e-collar that you buy. So like I treasure
Ah.
it, every e-collar. So I've got three. So I've got three bandanas.
You
I
have
was
the
hoping to
freebies
get
yet?
yeah, these are the freebies. This and I'm not sure what else I got. I got some like one or two free the points, the contact points.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
The micro.
No, I have the Chameleon 3B. I don't have the micro.
Ah, okay.
The contact ones. The feather tips.
Mhm.
I've never gone around using it because I have only short hairs, so I never had to use the feather contacts.
So I think I'm the only one today who's no bandana.
I got about a dozen different ones of these things. My head's shaped funny, so hats don't fit real well.
Huh?
No, this is also
But
not
these
doing a
do.
very good job.
Yeah, these fit perfect. So, matter of fact, I should have had this one on, but
Bad
I don't know
preparation.
what the Popo ones are. They're missing action.
Yeah, this is. When you have long hair, the bandana slips off. It just doesn't stay back.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it just keeps slipping. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I
well,
think we
there's
give it,
another people on. Go
One
ahead.
more minute and then I think we start, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
So, guys, if
Kashi.
you wanna, we wanna see your names in the questions. So maybe please give StreamYard access to your Facebook account so we can see your names, like here. So then we can see your names in the questions asked. So please do that. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just
No,
just
yeah.
looking at the
So, I guess we'll just get started. There's looks like close to 20 people on here. So, all right, guys, I'm Mike. Thanks for joining us. This is episode number 4 of On Cue Conversations in Modern Dog Training. So, again, I'm Mike, and then Dominic. Our guest this week is Kashi of Canine of Kashi. If you have not seen his videos on, I'm going to put your banner. If you haven't seen his videos on with him training his dogs, this is probably the free shaping king of dog training. So, yeah, some pretty awesome stuff. You're missing out if you haven't seen them. So, I'm going to put this is his Facebook link, so you can follow him on Facebook. And if you want to see some really pretty cool stuff. I think my favorite dog that he has is, and everybody probably say the same thing, but Cooper. I'm sure we'll get into that. But so with that, Kashi, we'll turn it over to you, or I'll actually Dominic, and then I'll let Dominic take it from here.
Yeah, so today our guest is Kashi. And Kashi, thanks for joining. I know it's very late where you are in India. And yeah, thanks for joining in. I'm Dominic. And yeah, I think the best thing we do is when you just introduce yourself, what you do, how you came to dog training, what kind of dogs do you have for the people that don't know you, and yeah, just where you come from, what you do.
Okay, hi
Stage is
guys.
yours.
Yes, thank you for having me over. This is like wonderful. My name is Kashi, and I've just been training dogs perhaps under about 4 years. That's about it. So I essentially I'm a full-time lawyer. I have a practice as a lawyer, and I've been practicing law for the last 20 years. So when COVID happened, it was perhaps one of the best things that happened to me because I suddenly discovered that I can do something else besides practicing law. So during COVID, when most of my friends, my lawyer friends, were quite unhappy with the situation, we had courts which were shut down. For me, it was a blessing in disguise because I had dogs and I wasn't really engaging with them to the extent that I'm engaging with them right now. So it was, and I had one of my friends who posted a challenge, like a 21-day challenge. Initially, when India underwent COVID, it was meant for 3 weeks. Okay, 3 weeks complete nationwide lockdown, and perhaps to reassess the situation. So during those 21 days, a friend of mine, Varun Anand, he kind of posted, "Let's have a challenge, guys," like a Facebook challenge. So he would post videos every day, and he would ask all of us to kind of, you know, rise up to that level. So that got me hooked. It got me hooked because every dog that I was with, I didn't realize this, but I was probably laying good foundation earlier, because everything that was posed as a challenge, it was very easy for me to have executed it. So I started thinking backwards. I said, how is it possible that some of my dogs are really picking up well, and some of my dogs were like, "What do you want me to do?" So that's when it started happening. And of course, when COVID opened up and the courts began working normally, I was like, by then I was really addicted. I said, when I'm not doing law, I got to be doing doctrine. So out went my hiking, out went my trekking. I stopped running. I stopped. I do a lot of hobbies, and all those hobbies took a backseat. So it is just now law and dogs. So I have about, I think, 8 or 9 dogs now.
Oh, that's
I never, yeah, I never count them, but yeah. So I have 2 Weimaraners. I have a Belgian Shepherd. I have a German Shepherd. I have an American Staffordshire Terrier. I have Cooper, who I believe is a Fox Terrier. And did I miss anyone? No, I now have a new pointer. I'm just trying to figure out what I do with that. And I have puppies. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so yeah, I have puppies, and in fact, that's what's keeping me up awake at night. So today's the 4th day, and I'm the nurse. So yeah,
That's
the
awesome.
video.
Yeah, I don't
the
know.
video that say it again.
Go ahead. I think there's a lag, and so when you stop talking, I start, and then it's on my Wi-Fi. I got to get it fixed, I guess. So
Okay. So I was saying the video that I posted today morning with my Weimaraners mating, and I'm doing a call off and reward. So that was like 60 days ago. So I just waited for the puppies to be born, and puppies are healthy, and I said, okay, I can now post a video. So I have 9 puppies.
So you're planning on keeping them, or you want to sell them?
Yeah,
or?
yeah. No, I will always keep 2 or 3. I just want to see what's coming out of this litter. I already have 2 puppies from the previous litter, so that was with a different stud. This time it's with Kaiser. So I really want to see what Kaiser produces, what kind of imprinting can I do as a trainer, because I'm not very happy with my bitch. You know, she has little issues. It's nothing that can't be resolved. But my whole game now is, perhaps when the puppies open up their eyes and ears, you know, the whole neurological rebirth take place, I want to remove the imprinting of the mother and to see what I can do as a trainer. You know, so I want to. This is just an experiment, but I just want to be careful about what I do. But I plan to move the mother out and see what I can do, whether how puppies can learn through my imprinting and through my exposure. So I'm going to be making notes on what I do with these puppies. So I will perhaps keep 3 puppies with me, or at least 2.
Awesome.
Hi, Iris. Yeah.
that's a handful.
All right.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
I have no excuses. So I always think that I have a handful, but I think I got it pretty easy. So I don't know if everybody realizes it, but it's I'm looking at the clock behind you right now. It's 2:45 in the morning, right?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
cash.
Yes.
So pretty he's tough, man. I would be if I'm up
workaholic.
at 2:45. Yeah, getting it done. But anyhow,
And I got to run to court at 10:30 in the morning. Yeah.
man, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's
So,
pretty
actually,
good.
what-
Good.
Go ahead. What
You go ahead.
what brought you into what turned you on to Napopo? Just I'm curious.
Huh. Yes. So what happened? Well, I think like most of us, you don't hear about Bart or Michael. You only see them, and when you see them, you're like, who are they, and how is it possible? Like I remember when the first exposure that I ever had with Michael and Bart was 2 different times, and I didn't know they were married. So I saw this Michael with this Muscle Mania video with chemo, and to me it was like, why would a dog do that? Like, why would a dog enjoy being muzzled? I mean, it's like I'm a complete pet parent, so that struck me, gave me a lot of sleepless nights. It did, and I kept, do you think there's food in the muzzle? I started going backwards. But ultimately, the question was, why is a dog doing it so happily? So I still remember there was a video of Michael and Bart with, I think it was not with Jack, it was with Ragnar. They had posted a video of Bart offering his finger, the unforced forced fetch, and then
Yeah.
the dog bites his sleeve. So there were a lot of comments, and including some very negative comments. And I think one of the comments Michael had responded, saying that, "Sir, please show me a video of your dog holding something and then with a switch of drive biting something very hard and outing. If you can show me a video, we'll be happy to follow you." So she just responded. And I, in my enthusiasm, I wrote to Michael. I said, "If I do it, will you look at my video?" You know, through a messenger. So that's how it started. And she said, "Of course." And I started working on it. And so that's what got me hooked. And then of course, Bart and Thor video. I mean, it's something that I keep seeing every month, and I keep thinking, yeah, this is like a dream come true if I can ever replicate even like 10% of the video. But that's how. So what drew me to Nupopo was basically the philosophy that it allows you to think and explore rather than be instructed. So every other method that I had very little exposure, and I now stopped following most other people, where they were all instructional based. They were like, "Do this, do this, do this to get this."
Yeah.
So, and for me, that was difficult because I had different breeds, and different breeds responded differently. So to me, that method never would ever work. So what I really like, maybe this comes as a background as being a lawyer. I like to research, I like to think, I like to engage. So for me, this whole philosophy was very engaging with the trainer. The trainer would have to think, rethink, go back, cross-check, and do it all over again, and still know that he would never be right unless he did it many times. For me, this was the most challenging thing to understand and to say, look, what my dog knows today, he knows it today. Tomorrow, in a different aquarium, he may not know it.
Yeah.
As opposed to certain instructional methods where they believe that if you've taught your dog to do something, he will do it no matter what the environment is. So that's like pulling wool over your eyes and assuming that your training is foolproof. It's never foolproof.
Yeah.
So
Right.
these are some of the things that drew me to Nupopo. Um, yes, I'm like I majorly follow Bart on all his interviews because most of my learning comes from his interviews. So, and I've said this earlier, and I'm saying it again. Like I watch his interviews in a loop mode. Sometimes I listen to few things, and sometimes I listen to some more. But he's saying the same thing. It's just that few things make sense to me today, and few things make sense to me day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm like, yeah. So I have like I have these notes every time I'm following his interviews. I keep making notes. Say, okay, he said this. It means this. Now go back and see what I can do that. So
Yeah.
this is how I completely built my training manual. So I now have like my own book with notes, copiously made notes from his interviews and some of his like the recent videos that these guys have been posting out. There is a certain chronological order they follow, why they do, why they don't do certain things.
Yeah.
For me, like for instance, the pedestal was the most important thing that I could ever learn. I mean, I have dogs that just break open the kennel doors and they can just run free. Imagine, imagine having a dog to exercise self-control, come out of the kennel, go and put himself on a pedestal, and then do things. It's like a brake, but it's also like a gas pedal. The moment
Yeah.
he comes on the pedestal, he's like, okay, give me something, make me do something, and then maybe I can do things. So for
Yeah.
me, that was like a revelation. So everything is a revelation if you start to look at it from your dog's perspective. Otherwise, when I watch people's videos, they just remain videos. Okay, does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
But the question is, did you manage to get your video done with holding the finger and biting?
Oh yeah, I've got it many times. I think even Bart shared it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I did a couple of things. I did a hold, I did a out, I did an indication, I did a bark, I did a hold, bite. I mixed it up. Like
Yeah.
I've got the dog to hold a currency, do an indication, hold, bite, out. So
Yeah, I love your videos. To be honest, I love watching every one of your videos because you're so creative in free shaping and doing all that stuff. It's awesome. And with the other breeds than usual, you have you're not. I mean, you have a Malinois, but and the shepherd, but you have just small dogs, big dogs, and it's just awesome what you can do with the dogs.
Yeah, but there is something that I've been meaning to talk about it. It's like quite often we get stuck in free shaping and we never move beyond. So just like luring, there is always a problem. Even with free shaping, there's always a problem because you enjoy free shaping so much that you get stuck in free shaping. You forget to name the behavior, either classically or operantly, and
Oh
then
yeah.
you never have it. Yeah, you never have it on cue. So those are the few things that I constantly keep reminding myself that look, okay, he's enjoying the behavior. Now let's start naming the behavior. Then let's start enforcing the behavior.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like free shaping, but I'm also very aware that I need to get out of free shaping. So every behavior that I do now, I'll probably do a free shaping behavior today, and 10 days later, I'd like to post another video where the dog is doing it on command. So for me, that's like the complete evolution.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, you just hold food and hold a clicker, and the dog is going to spontaneously jump up and do some things, and you have a fancy video. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, someday that there's the day that you have to name the behavior. I mean, free shaping is a lot of fun, but the dog does this, the dog does that. But later on, then your dog is 3-4 years old, and you say
And
a command, and the dog doesn't know what to do, and the dog's still running everywhere. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. That happened.
Yeah, I think
So,
the progression though, that's the best progression is to go from, just free shaping, and then when it's perfect, when it's just the way you want it, then put a name on it. That way you're not diluting, your cue word, whatever word you're using, it's specifically identified with the finished behavior. So
Yeah. So here's a trick I do. I'm not sure it's a trick. It's just something that I do. Is that when I'm free shaping, I'm consciously trying to also free shape a secondary behavior at all given points of time. Okay. So it helps me because there is always a possibility for a dog to do either of them and still get the marker
yeah,
rather than do something else which is not in the aquarium. Does that make sense? So I never
Sure.
want my dog trying to offer me one behavior, even in the shaping technique. I'd like to leave some scope for him to do another behavior, and I see where does his desire lay stronger, and then I mark that behavior.
yeah,
So when I lay a command, when he does that behavior, I know that he's understood that. But even if he has not understood that, and if he offers me another behavior, I'll say, all right, I'll delay the naming, but now I'm getting two behaviors in the same
yeah,
aquarium. So, like the video that I post, maybe the dog jumping on a treadmill and wearing his collar would have been incomplete if he didn't know how to remove his own collar.
yeah. Makes
Sure.
So
sense.
then, then the speed of the dog is like he just runs in, he just manages to put his neck in a collar, and then he's struggling to come out because I can't mark. When I click, my dog may gag himself. So the dog must know to take it out and come back and get his marker.
Yeah,
So
that's
for me,
also something that. Oh, sorry.
yeah.
That's also something that Bart always says when you shape a behavior, you always have to do the opposite behavior because otherwise you just only get stuck in. Let's say you want to send out your dog, then you have to also train the recall, so the opposite behavior. So you can always switch, and also in your case, it doesn't make sense to shape the behavior to go with the head through the collar, and then the dog doesn't know how to get it off because then he will get stuck and maybe panic, or then you fuck up the whole exercise.
Yeah. True. Then he may just have a negative connotation to the whole exercise. Yeah. So in fact, somebody asked me, why are you training that particular exercise? Why are you training this? Does it even make sense? I said, nothing ever makes sense. You can have a dog and just free feed him.
Yeah.
I said, I just do things to keep him engaged. And when I train my dog to do a behavior, I'm learning how to do this behavior better with another dog.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm also always saying. Every dog you can learn how to do it better with the next dog, but also every dog is different, so you got to see if that way fits with your next dog.
True. But as long as you remember to keep the drive intact in whatever you do, you probably won't get it wrong.
Yeah.
So, for example, the Muzzle Mania video, that was the first video that I'm always very close to because that's what drew me to the balance. So I managed to do that muzzle exercise with 3 of my dogs: my Cooper, my Kaiser, and my Malinois. So sometimes few things, if you understand it intrinsically how it's done, by maintaining drive and maintaining ignition of the dog, you can have different breeds do the same exercise, and they will look identical in their expression of the drive. So yeah, so it's not. I would not agree with the statement that different dogs would be in different things. For me, different dogs, identical drive. Yeah, I can get identical behaviors. Ignition is very important. Yeah, I'm just looking at the comments here. Yeah, successful mating. Yeah, we have puppies. Oh yeah, I was telling you about this puppies. I was telling Mike. So I'm just asking you guys: is this normal for a 30-minute puppy to be standing on hind legs?
I've never had puppies, so not like that.
Yeah, I understand crawling. I understand very frantic behaviors, but when I placed the puppy in a basket, the puppy was already standing on the hind legs, trying to climb. 30 minutes into birth. So I'm like,
I have no idea, but maybe somebody that's watching, maybe somebody can just answer the question in the comments. So we just wait.
I probably will post that video because I forgot to collar that puppy. So because I would love to keep that puppy. so that's how it. Yeah.
So Kashi, I have a question that I'm always was curious because I only know the dog training community in Europe and in the USA. So how is the dog training community in India in general? Do you have also like national championships in IGP, Mondioring or whatever? Or how is that in India? I have no idea.
So India didn't have sports for a very long time. Okay. We have a fantastic PSA clubs in India now. So
I saw that video. You were decoying there, huh?
Yeah. So this was I think this is the 5th year of PSA, and one of my very close friends, Varun Anand, he's the first Indian to get his PSA 2 first leg with the Dutch Shepherd, with the female Dutch Shepherd. So yeah, we've come way far now. We started off with nothing, nobody. India was not even on the map, and today I think India has about perhaps 6 PSA 1 dogs, one PSA 2 first leg, and many PDCs. We also have about 6-7 certified decoys. So it's like PSA. India has accepted PSA and has embraced PSA. That's like the new sport. We don't have IGP yet. We don't have any IGP competitors. There are just 2 of them, and they go outside India to do something. They've got their IGP once, but yeah, no IGP. No Mondioring, no KNPV, nothing of the sort. No dog diving, no frisbees, and no what's that?
Flyball, I think.
No flyball, nothing. It's just one sport. It's one sport. So there aren't many trainers who train for the sport because PSA is also a very demanding sport. It requires you to affiliate with somebody at a certain level. You can do PDC perhaps on your own, but you still require a decoy. And as you go higher and higher, you need to have like a village or a community around you. So we have very few, but it's not much if you look at the whole population of India.
Yeah.
Okay. But what we have, they're pretty strong. I mean, I remember Jonathan Katz was in India for the judging of the event, and he said the Indian obedience is like national level. Like people were just getting like 19 out of 20, 19 and a half out of 20 in healing, recalls, everything else. So I think he wants to see a little more better protection work. Yeah. But like obedience, I think we Indians have nailed it in terms of PSA ones. Yeah.
So you're trying to get into PSA with maybe one of your future dogs?
I'm a bit of loner in the sense that one, I live far away from the city. Mm-hmm. For me, going to the clubs is very difficult. Though everybody in the PS is a friend of mine. I remember when I thought I'd certify for a decoy. So I just thought I'd go in for the certification. It's a video that I still should upload. With 20 days, everybody said, "Okay, come take my dog." Everybody, and they just opened up. I said, "Come, do whatever you can. We'll help you out." So I went through the certification process, and at the last minute, I fell down. This is a very big dog. It's like a 44 kg dog. I don't know how much that's in pounds. That's perhaps 90 pounds. So I had to catch a 90-pound dog on a courage test, and that dog pinned me down. Yeah. So So yeah, so that was like a big fall, but yeah, it was good fun. I probably will try to be involved with PSA in terms of decoying, because I like decoying. uh, it challenges me as a person, and it's something that I can be responsible for myself, rather than put all my hopes on one dog and then be disappointed if he doesn't turn out. Because none of my
Yeah.
dogs have had foundations for any sport. They're just like, they do everything, and they do nothing at times. Because like I said again, when I got into training dogs, I would never train for a sport,
Yeah.
and it's unlikely I will ever compete in a sports, because I admire the dedication that you require in a sports, but I'm not ready to make those sacrifices. Like, I can't be focused on one dog for 1 year to title him and ignore my other dogs. So in a way, I want to be fair to all my dogs. Like, what do I do with Cooper? I mean, he can't go into the PSA, right? But he's got so much potential.
Yeah.
What do I do with my Weimar and my Kaiser? It's phenomenal. But so I just want to make sure that all my dogs get their opportunities with me and my time with them, and I can sit in my farm and train all my 9 dogs in a span of 1.5 hour, or I can just take one dog, drive 2 hours to and fro, just to have him bite someone for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a decision that I took, and I'm quite happy with the decision, because it allows me to be fair to all my dogs. But at the same time, I completely respect all those guys who devote their time to dogs. I mean, it's, in terms of sports, it's like a huge commitment. So I'm not undermining anybody who's playing sports, but I'm just not ready for that kind of sacrifices.
Yeah. And I think also sometimes if you buy a dog or if you breed a dog with the intention to go on a trial, I think sometimes so I noticed that with myself, sometimes you forgot and you forgot that you love training, and sometimes
Yeah.
you want it too much, so that you only focus on training and training,
Yeah.
training, and forget about the social interaction with your dog. So
Absolutely. I know people who say, my dog is a working dog, so he's always in a crate, because they never want to put him out of the crate.
yeah,
I remember Bart saying this in one of his interviews. He said, when you start training, train like a circus, like how they train in circus.
yeah,
You train a dog like a trick, because when you teach a behavior like a trick, you accept what the dog gives you. Instead of asking for precision, you look for passion in the dogs.
yeah,
And to me my entire training has been that one line: train a dog to do a behavior like you would train a dog to do tricks. You take what the dog gives you, as long
yeah,
as it's with a lot of heart and soul, and you're still training, because you can the dog is very very forgiving of you, because you
yeah,
will take what the dog gives you, so the dog will just try and do better.
yeah,
And that's a
Yeah.
challenge when you train dogs, is that when you train, you don't know when to stop at the best behavior of the day. You push.
100%.
you're chasing your own dopamine.
Yeah, yeah, it's never the dog. True.
Yeah,
True.
I just had that same conversation with Kent Bowman through a couple days ago, and it was shortening my training sessions down to
Yeah.
about 5 minutes, because man, I'll push it, and before you know it, you're burning your dog out. Even if your dog sometimes is still showing that heart and soul, you can still you push it and you push it. So what I've been doing this week, really since I talked to him, it was I haven't been doing like formal training sessions. I'll just put a training vest on, or fill my pockets full of kibble, and just walk out in the backyard with them, one at a time. And of course, as soon as they hear the clicker the first time, they jump into, what can I run around, or what can I jump on, or what can I stick my nose in, but just keeping it fun, not formal, not no expectations, just. And I'll say this happened yesterday. I've been doing it for about a week now, and yesterday, and he did it more than once. He probably did it half a dozen times, and he did it again this morning. So Venger, my 9-month-old, he just would come and run into the heel position, like jump into the heel position, focused too. And so it kind of, at first I was like, well, that was an accident. I clicked it and treated him, but then he did it again. And then I take a couple steps and he stayed there. But just something that I've been, if I'm real short with it, I've been able to keep him passionate about training. But as soon as I push it a little bit too far, he gets discouraged, and I can see his tail just change. Everything changes. Um, but with out there in the backyard the last week and even this morning, totally different. Just he initiated it. He and was pushy about it even. So I just a couple reps and then it was over with. But really, not being so formal for me has takes the pressure off me, and it takes the pressure off the dog, and then we both do better. And then so it actually feeds my dopamine more rather than me chasing it, just letting it happen. It's turns you
Because
into an addict.
He's looking forward to the next session.
And you also, not just the dog.
Yes, me too. Yeah. So in fact, that helps me because with so many dogs, I make it mentally, I'm only available to each dog for 4 minutes a day. So I can wrap up my entire 6-7 dogs in a span of 1 hour.
Yeah.
When I go back in the evening, my dogs are raring to go back to me. So I found this easy because I just didn't have enough time to deal with all my dogs. And I realized that I was just burning them out, expecting one heel, and just going after that one behavior for 10 minutes when the dog just doesn't get it. Yeah, so 3-4 minutes, I think it's perfect. The rest of the time, of course, you run with your dog, you play goofy, you throw a ball. But real training, I think 4-5 minutes is a max. With me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even with my Cooper and my Kaiser, my Weimar and my Fox Terrier, it's never more than 5 minutes. And no matter how much energy they have, I'm like, I'll just take what you give me today and we'll build tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hi, man. That's Michael Bellin.
Yeah, like she said, short and powerful.
Yeah. Always inspiring us.
So do you use the dopamine box? Because I'm not sure. I can't remember if you showed us a video with the dopamine box.
I use it all the time. No, I use it on all my dogs, even puppies.
Oh, okay.
I use it. That's when I feel lazy. That's my go-to exercise. Yeah. So I'm always training. So when let's say when I go to court and my staff has to feed my dogs, I just said just dump the food in the box. Don't give it in a bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I come, maybe next time I put less food. But yeah, box is like I treat the box as my food bowl. So all my puppies eat from the box. I'm always with the box. I have many boxes, and yeah. So and once you work around with the box, you do multiple things. You can do multiple things.
Yeah.
It's no longer a box to me anymore. For me, it's like a huge tool in my entire equipment. I use it on my board and trained dogs which are aggressive. To feed them, so environmentally they just go blind. Yeah, so that's something that I picked up, and I've really embraced the box as a part of my core training principles.
I think the box is like the gateway to focus in every behavior. Once and it just once you understand it, I feel like that you can transfer the focus of the box into any behavior, but you don't have to. It does it itself. I think that's the magic of it. It just kind of flows into everything.
So when you guys use the box, what is your last destination, or when do you fade away the box? At what stage do you guys fade away the box, if you have to?
Say that again.
So at what stage would you stop using the box?
I don't ever stop using it.
So then the next question is, what new behaviors can you create in a box apart from, let's say, article indication, focus, and maybe environmental desensitization? What are the new other things that you can do with the box?
Yeah. So the last time I think we talked about this, I mentioned using it for just basic focus and so if a dog knows to keep his head in the box, until you release him, and if he understands that the longer he keeps his head in the box, there's the potential for reward to come regardless of distractions, then to me, like if I set up a similar scenario, then the dog, if say I now put the dog in the heel position, the dog learns kind of innately that the longer he stays focused in the heel position, just like he was focused in the box, there's a potential for reward to come, no matter if the distractions are there or not. I mean, does that make sense?
It makes sense. Okay, let me rephrase the question because I had something in my mind. So when you click, would your dog come out of the box? I guess that's how it's normally is, right? You click and the dog comes out, and you don't
Sure.
click, the dog stays in the box.
Yeah.
So there was another comment by Bart at some point of time. He says, when you click, the dog must continue remaining in the box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
So
now
when
he
the
wants-
when the behavior becomes the reward. So with Legend, my youngest puppy, he's 6 months old now, but he'll have his head in the box, and I know there's no food in the box because he's done, and he has this little wiggle that he'll do. His head's in the box. He wiggles his body because he's kind of telling me, all right, drop food in. But, I'm 10 feet away, and so I click and he refuses. Sometimes, he'll even lift his head up real quick and kind of peek at me just above the edge of the box and then stick his head back down again. And I'm click, 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 click. And he's not moving. So then I just got to go throw food in the box, So,
just do the room service.
yeah.
That's fantastic. For me, that also was a revelation. Small things, theoretically, it sounds easy to listen. I say, oh, all right, click, no food, click, head in the box. But when you see these things in action, you realize that you're actually training a dog. And many people, most people I know, they don't move away from just food in the box. For them, box training is all about just food in the box and whether can your dog eat an entire bowl of food from the box. So we need to see more videos of people actually taking box work to various other skills. So that's what I keep doing every time I start using a box. I said, okay, what more can I do with the box? Can my dog stay in the box while I move the box all around the place, like how Cooper would do? Of course, he's a small dog; he can fit inside the box. But for me, everything can be a challenge if you accept box as a very cohesive training tool. It's literally what you can do with the box. It's limitless.
So
Right.
what I just would like to add, that's why I have the comment shown here, is I think the same. I have rather have a dog that's 100% every time obedient to my clicker than to stay in the box, than to have the hat in the box as self-rewarding behavior. So why do I think like that? Because the clicker for me is everything. The clicker is, if the dog burns the clicker, I put him immediately away. Because the clicker for me is the most important thing. I use it in bite work, I use it in obedience, in tracking. And when I start allowing the dog to ignore my clicker, then later it might happen also in other exercises. So I'm a little bit like the same, that I rather have a charged clicker than stay in the behavior.
I have a question for you then. So if your clicker then is a release, click and release, but if the reward, so for you, and I guess this is what you're saying, maybe I'm understanding as I'm talking, but the click is a release, but it also means the dog has to come to you to get a reward, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, that's true. But if I click and release and the higher reward is to stay in behavior, then I think that could go wrong too, I guess, if you're using the clicker as a command both to come to you to get the reward. But for me, I just click and release. And if your head's still in the box, then the behavior has become the reward for you. And then
So you mean you release him to his self-rewarding behavior to stay in the box?
Yeah, I just release him to a reward. And if he decides that reward is keeping his head in the box, then that's up to him. But at the same time,
but then you allow the dog to choose what reward.
Yeah,
he
you're right.
He wants.
You're right. Yeah. You're right.
Why can't you can have another perspective on this? So when you click and the dog doesn't release himself from, let's say, the box, take it as a diagnostic tool that in that context, the box is more rewarding than your clicker. So just take it as a diagnostic tool, and because you can't train a dog to ignore your clicker. When the dog ignores your clicker, he's demonstrating to you that he loves the behavior. So you got to take what you see and then play with it. So you can't you ignore the clicker, I'm going to punish you. No, that's never going to work.
You're right there. I'm sorry.
In the context, I'm sorry, there's a lag. So in the context of a box, maybe my dog will ignore my clicker, but in a context of an open whatever work that I do with him, he will never ignore the clicker.
I think you always must decide from the situation.
Since you say that, it's pretty clear to me that whenever I'm dropping food in the box, I'm dropping 10, 15 pieces of kibble, But when I click and he comes to me, he's not getting 10 or 15 pieces of kibble. He's getting 4 or 5. So that's probably, the case there.
So be communist when you're dropping food in the box. Just one kibble, and then the jackpot's always you. Like I love my dogs just steal food from me. When I got this bitch, she was a very she came from an under socialized family. I bought her at an adult age, so she was not very driven dog. So one of the ways I just made her was I just allowed her to steal food from my pouch. I never trained her for almost a month. She got all her food if she could steal the food from my jacket. Not even a training pouch, because the training pouch was very small. So I would just wear an old jacket with very big pockets, and I would just ignore my dog when my dog was stealing. So I had to make her bold, because if she doesn't take food with force, she's never going to do a behavior with equal intensity. So to me,
absolutely.
So I don't want this weak performances and then even weaker reinforcement acceptance. Everything has to be power. Which is why I always prefer power and passion over perfection. I don't care if my heel is not right, but is my dog really believing that this behavior gets him food? Yeah, I'll take that. So I think this pursuit for perfection gets perhaps does not allow you to explore yourself as a trainer, because you're like, is it a 90-degree heel? Is it a proper front? If you get stuck on this, you're going to miss out on everything else that the dog is offering you. A lot of people may disagree with that. People who do sports.
So it depends. I mean, I made that mistake by myself. I burned a dog with too much perfection from the beginning, and so the dog lost his fire, and it took me a long time to get him back into very drivey and very heart and soul behaviors. But but you got to make mistakes to learn from it.
Somebody writes IGP versus artwork. That's true. IGP is everything is like points. You got to have a perfection. Okay, there's a comment you posted. What's that?
So this is Gowan's. What happened to him at Gold? So I guess the same thing happened to him, and his dog would not come off the track when he clicked. So Bart instructed him click and then pull the dog off the track to respond to the click to get the reward, and then let him go right back to the track.
So was that also not something similar to opposition reflex? Pull him off and then he goes back with equal intensity.
Sure, I think so.
But I think he forced the dog to come off the track and get the rewards, so he can release him immediately back to the track, because the tracking was his behavior for the dog, was the dog's behavior.
So I was doing something with one of my pups, and I was trying to implement both direct and indirect reward in tracking. So here's what I did, and I just experimented. Maybe I should go back and see how the behavior is lasting now. So let's say in a span of 40 feet, I would probably keep 40 kibbles if I were to do that. So on that particular day, I only put about 10 to 12 kibbles in a 40 feet. So as my dog was searching for the track, I would put food from top, one kibble, indirect reward. So for me, I was giving him an indirect reward for the behavior of searching. And when he found the kibble, it was a direct reward for him. So I didn't have to reward him for that. So I was kind of a tap, stop when he finds, and then slowly you get an article, then indirect reward. So I found it very easy to observe my dog. I expected my dog to look up, but he understood, because indirect reward, I think, is one of the fantastic ways to help dog make a correlation between the behavior and what makes the reward happen. So for me, that was a revelation, that you could have a dog focus on a track and still drop kibbles on over his head. And the dog knew that I'm dropping kibble. Make no mistake, he knows it. But he believes that putting his nose on the track is what makes the reward pop in.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and just play with these concepts. And these are not concepts anymore. Direct and indirect reward can be implemented in one behavior, and you can still get the desired expression of the behavior.
So Derek's on. Derek was watching, but his comment's not showing up as his name. So I think he's got to go now. So I'm just letting you know that he's on here. So.
Oh yeah, I can't see his name. Hi Derek. Yeah.
Yeah, his name doesn't show. You have to give StreamYard permission to show your name in your comments. But anyway,
Derek has problem with authority, so he'll never give permission.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So what do we have here? I see hope as a.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Was that what you had up there?
Yeah, this. So we clicked it the same way.
Okay, sorry. Here we go. My hands are up here. My hands are up here.
Sorry. I see hope as an emotion. Emotions are strong motivators. Hope is often used as a motivator. What's your opinion on dogs having emotions, and are there other emotions you use in your training as a motivator?
Yeah, I remember this is also discussion on another platform. I remember this. I haven't really in my training experiences. I only focus on hope.
Yeah.
I only focus on hope. Because hope as an emotion can override other emotions. If a dog is insecure and a dog has hope will certainly override insecurity.
Yeah.
This insecurity can never override hope, as long as you understand the balance between hope versus struggle, and how do you keep the balance imperfect.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah, for me, it's always hope. If my dogs don't see hope in an exercise, he's not going to even want the reward, because he's never going to know what makes the reward happen. Okay. I'd like to see what you guys have to say about that. Emotions are strong motivators. Yeah. So hope is also an emotion, right? Hope is often used as a motivator. What's your opinion on dogs having emotions? So I don't know what other emotions do you really want in training? Do you want?
Yeah. For me, for my goals, I don't think. I think hope is the ultimate emotion. I mean, yes. I don't know what else. The only other emotions that come to mind would be like fear, anxiety, nervousness. I don't want that anywhere near my training program. But
it depends what you want to train, I think.
Yeah, I think I would have to have a specific scenario to chime in on that. But I'm with you. I think hope is it's king as far as training.
Yeah. Like even for instance, even protection work. It's my understanding that all protection work, there is an element of fear in the dog. Okay, I hope I'm able to articulate what's going on in my head. So fear is always an underlying emotion in protection work. It's what the dog does with the fear makes it either a forward fighting dog or a retreating dog. So fear is also an emotion, but when a dog decides to fight his own fears and fight you back, it has to be hope. Hope that I can kill you today. Hope that I can push you away today. So hope will always override every other emotion. No hope.
So this is Carabel. He said no hope is powerful. Yeah, that's true. Hope. He's always thinking outside the box a little bit. I think that's true. If there's no hope, if a dog is if there's no hope for a dog to run out a door, then he's not going to run out a door, for example.
Yeah. So, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, that's a quite interesting answer. Yeah. No hope. Yeah.
So I think
Emotions.
that was what Toon meant. He meant emotions like anger, frustration, fear, anxiety. Yes, I think it depends on what your goal for training is. I mean, if you do like shaping behaviors, if you train new behaviors, it's always the best if you have a lot of positive emotions, if you have hope, a lot of hope. But if you, let's say, you have an aggressive dog, um, there is a possibility that you have to train a little bit in another way than with hope. So maybe sometimes you just have to make him hopeless, so that he has no hope in being aggressive on the other dog.
Yeah, in behaviors that you don't want, right?
Yeah.
Like for instance, emotion like frustration. Well, frustration can only build drive, but I'm not sure if frustration actually can get you a desired behavior.
Yeah.
Because when a dog is frustrated, he may do either of the things. He may whip back and maybe bite his own handler, or he may bite the decoy.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that I want to use frustration as an element of emotion in all my training sessions.
No, not at all. But let's imagine if you want to train the bark and hold with the ball machine, that there you use frustration in your training on purpose. So,
but when the dog is frustrated for the very first time and you reward him, you build hope.
that's actually true.
Yeah. So the next time he's not frustrated. The next time he's like hope. Okay, ball's not coming. Frustration. And then you drop. Then you reinforce the hope. You can't reinforce frustration. You can only reinforce hope. Like, can you reinforce fear? Yeah, you can. But are you going to be able to get a behavior out of it? No, you can't. So I think in the dog training scenario, we're only looking at what can you get out of the dog.
Yeah.
We're not talking about suppressing a dog. We're talking about making a dog powerful.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, right. We can't see many names. I can see it.
Yeah. So right above this video, there's a link to StreamYard. Click on that link and it'll ask you if you're on Facebook, and it'll ask, I don't know about other platforms, but it'll ask permission for us to post your comments. And so like you see my comment on here right now. Otherwise, it just looks like nobody knows who's speaking. So, I mean, a lot of people have posted comments, and I'd like to put them up here, but this is what it looks like. It just kind of looks, nobody knows who's talking. So, anyway.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I have club members and clients who went to famous training works mostly in dogs, mostly.
Yeah, some trainers. I mean, if they are successful in what they do, that's cool. But
that's cool,
some things just sound very weird to me. So.
Yeah.
I think I saw an interesting comment back.
Yeah, let's see that.
Where it was. Yeah, that's very true from Finn.
Yes,
hope must always overweigh the struggles, so otherwise the dog will shut down.
Yeah, I think
so that's very important.
Yeah, I think it remains fundamental for any training, and it's not just training dogs. It's also equally in day-to-day as humans. If I can't instill hope in my employee, I'm not going to be able to retain him as an employee. He must always hope for something better the next month, hope for a higher salary, hope for better working conditions. I can't think of an everlasting behavior without an element of hope in it.
Absolutely. So there's behaviors that my dogs do that I could go 6 months probably without rehearsing it, putting it on cue or anything, and then give them a cue word and they'll do it just because there was so much hope in it before that it's just ingrained in them. It stayed there, kind of built longevity into their understanding, I guess. So, and that stands true with any neuroscience. The more emotion that's put into a single event, the longer you will remember it. Post-traumatic stress disorder, guys who have been, or a car wreck, how many times have you gotten in a car and you don't remember? You probably can't tell me 20 times that you've gotten in a car, but you've gotten in a car thousands of times. But that one time you got in a car and got in a wreck, you remember that one. So that's not hope, but it's still an emotion. So emotion kind of, it drives, just kind of drives things deeper.
So, okay, I'm going to throw in something interesting. Let's see if we can make this a discussion. Would you agree that even while we are doing clicker conditioning, which is a classical conditioning pattern, do you think at some stage there is also hope built in that? Would you agree? Or would you always say it's always
hope built into the clicker?
Yes, at some stage of the conditioning stage, before classical conditioning actually sets in.
I don't know. Maybe you have to.
it.
Yeah, I don't understand. You may have to explain it to me. Break it down to my level.
Okay. So I'm just wondering, now that we're talking about hope, before true classical conditioning sets in clicker, what's making the dog respond to the clicker even half-heartedly? I understand the true test of a clicker conditioning would be that you probably put an entire bowl of food in front of the dog and you click and the dog leaves the food and comes back to you. Okay, assuming that to be the ultimate test. And that's when you say classical conditioning is actually set into the clicker, or your clicker is very powerful and clicker's charged.
Sure.
We're talking about the initial days of clicker conditioning. There has to be an element of hope, which is why the dog comes back to you.
Yeah. Before it's an automatic response, you mean there has to be a hope built into it.
Yeah. So hope as an element of emotion must exist in every aspect, whether it's operant or whether it's even in classical conditioning. Though, of course, at some point of time, classical condition sets in, muscle memory builds in. It's all about reflex.
I think that's a good thought to keep in mind when you're conditioning your clicker. Like, for example, if you have two dogs, you click with one and he bum rushes you. Venger, my 9-month-old, man, I have to be careful how far he is from me when I click, because if he's 5 feet and I click, I'm safe. If he's 30 feet away and I click, I have to really bend my knees, because he's coming like a freight train. But it's automatic. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter what's in front of him, what he has already, he's coming to me. And then he'll turn around and go right back. But my little 6-month-old, not so much. If I click, he'll come. But if he has something that he's still in that thinking stage about the clicker, it's not automatic. It's not really, it's not conditioned, it's still kind of in that learning stage. So that's good to keep in mind to evaluate the power of your clicker, because like you said before, it's with the emotion and the power that your dog responds to the clicker, that's the emotion and the power that he's going to put into a behavior. And you can't expect more out of behavior than you're going to get out of the clicker, because, ultimately the clicker is the marker of the ultimate reward. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think it's the other way around. It's the power with which your dog takes the reinforcement is the power with which your dog perhaps does the behavior. I think it's not really about the marker anymore. So he must really want in training, it's all about your dog must want something, and then you teach him to do something to get that. And the marker is just a bridge here. So you just kind of help him understand that, this is what I wanted. You go get your stuff.
Awesome. So we have about, I think we have about 2 minutes left.
Yeah, that went by pretty fast.
Yeah, it was we just started and now it's just an hour gone.
Oh, I'm so sorry. There's so many comments. I can't see the names. I'm like,
that's pretty bad. But maybe after the podcast, we just go through the comments and maybe we see what else do we have? Because some are really deep. I think the whole thing with the emotions and changing emotions, bad emotions, good emotions, or manipulating emotions is a very deep conversation.
Yeah, can you pick that last comment by Iris? She has another perspective. She says, I would argue that the initial reaction to clicker isn't hope, but curiosity. Yes, it can be curiosity in the first instance, but when you reinforce a curiosity, it turns into hope, because the dog can't be curious with every click. Would you agree on that?
100%.
Curious? Like, your food. Oh, yeah, I get something. So you come back again. Now it's hope. So yeah, she's right. Initial reaction. No, I never said the initial reaction is hope. When you feed it, you turn it into hope. So it could be clicker, it could be curiosity. Yeah, you feed curiosity.
The first thing is you do a click and the dog's wondering, oh, what was that? And then you feed him. So the first, it's the first thing is curious, and then you build with feeding and together with the click, you build hope for the click and then for the food. So yeah, that's pretty good.
She's right. Yeah, she's right. That's what I love about this open-end discussions where people feel, just chime in with their perspectives, and you got to be open about what people are saying. And she's absolutely right. I like that, which we try to shape into by loading the clicker. Yeah, she's good. Yeah. Dominic, make a video on your YouTube channel now, how to use a clicker. Yeah, so there's a request for you.
Yeah, I think I have a video on how to charge the clicker, but I haven't thought about making a video about using in different ways. So yeah, I would think about that. Thank you. All right, guys. I think we will finish up with that. Kashi, thanks for joining in. It was pretty fun.
Thanks for coming, Kashi. It was an honor, and maybe if you're open to it, we'll have you again later on. I know you're busy. It's 3:30 something in the morning there, so I'm looking at the clock behind you there. But I don't need to remind you that you hadn't gotten any sleep and you got court in the morning. But it was fun though, and I think informative. A lot of good stuff in there. So.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. And everybody who's commented, I'm so sorry I couldn't see your names, but yeah, I'll just go back and I'll acknowledge all of you guys.
Yeah, we'll do that. And also, I will upload the video tomorrow on my YouTube channel, and then I will do some. I don't know how that is called in English, but then you can switch. I make subjects so you can switch to every part of the discussion and don't have to watch the whole video. So
nice.
It will be perfect. All right, guys. Then we won't see you this year again. So we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And in January we will have another guest. And stay tuned in the Facebook group to see who we're gonna have next in the show. Kashi, thanks for joining.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, share this video to your Facebook pages too, so that other people. It's a lot of good content, but it's kind of isolated unless we share it with people, and it just helps expose our guests and just helps everybody. So
yeah, we will put again Kashi's Facebook from his Canaan of Kashi. We will post that here so you can watch his videos and. Yeah, just follow that guy. He does awesome work.
We'll post his link. We'll put it in the comments, and so you'll have it there. If you don't check his stuff out, you're missing out.
Thank you. That's
all right, guys.
Yeah, bye. Thank you, guys.
Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.